Death on the Installment Plan or Death on Credit by Louis-Ferdinand Céline. Now I'm gonna have to just say it how it is. I was incredibly overhyped for this book. Of course, if you read Bukowski, you will end up at Céline. If you read Céline, you'll end up at Knut Hamsun, and so forth. But of course, I was too overhyped. I anticipated this book. I was expecting greatness. And in part, I was disappointed. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, why would anybody read this book? And you should read this book because of its incredible humor. This type of humor is not even dark. I would call this deranged, psychotic, manic, etc. The humor that Céline presents here, it's almost unintentional. And I think that is why it just, it just packs a punch like few books can, right? The best part of this book happens in the first, let's call it the first 250 pages or so. Young Ferdinand is with his family. They live in the gutters. They're poor. And the best part of this book, like I said, is the humor. But in terms of the story, it is how Céline describes his father. Now, I don't know if this is completely 100% true, accurate, genuine, authentic history. But the way he describes his father, the way his father just has these fucking psychotic outbursts. Like, this guy is a one-of-a-kind, psychotic, rageaholic. He has these incredible rants, these bizarre ramblings, these ovations almost that keep on going for pages and pages. It's like nothing you have ever read before. The way his father just snaps in the first 200 pages or so is just chef's kiss, and I believe this is the best part of the book. What's the problem here? After the first 200 and so pages, which are the best, I would argue, something happens which just kind of takes the steam out of the immersion. A sort of downward spiral happens as you keep reading along, and it just does not stop. It does not stagnate. It just keeps on going, and this is my experience, okay? It keeps getting, it gets a bit repetitive, it gets a bit stale, it gets a bit bland, and by the end, unfortunately, even the humor, which is the best part of this book, even the humor somehow is affected. It's not that effective anymore. And by the end, at least after finishing this book, I was a bit disappointed, a bit unsettled, disgruntled, whatever you want to call it, because it just falls apart in this status quo, if you want to call it. It just loses any potency by the halfway mark. And that's terrible, because I was really expecting greatness from this book, okay? Here's what happens. First part of the book, we have young Ferdinand with his family, his psychotic rageaholic of a father, the crazy outbursts. We have squalor, we have filth, we have degeneration, we have insanity and madness at every step. That's great. Afterwards, in the story, Ferdinand goes to this, let's call it a British lodging house or something like that, right? And immediately there's a change of tone. Something happens. Already, right here in this British lodging house, the potency, the punch is lessened. Afterwards, Ferdinand goes back to Paris. Now he works for this jeweler of sorts. Again, it is bland. It just falls apart. You're not interested. Okay? Afterwards, Ferdinand goes to this inventor of sorts. So he becomes this inventor's assistant. And this is where the story really drags on. It just lingers, just becomes meandering, and the most horrible thing that happens in this last part with the inventor is that the humor almost is thrown out the window. It has no impact whatsoever, at least for me. Right? And of course, this last part with the inventor is the worst, in my opinion, because it keeps on being prolonged, it is extended, it goes on forever, and it is just, it becomes almost intolerable. And, the ending, unfortunately for me, it just came out of nowhere. It has nothing, it has nothing to catch your attention. The ending, it just happens after 500 pages of people just fucking going insane and rambling 24/7, page after page, no pause. At the end, our protagonist, Ferdinand, just falls apart, and he has this moment where he just wants to go to the military, and he cries to his uncle, and it just ends off it feels like the author just strung it together to get it over with, right? That's how the ending feels. It feels like he just wanted to get it over with and be done with the book. I've watched a couple of reviews. There aren't a lot of reviews on this book. They're from the installment plan. One of them said that, this book is just so filthy, so dirty, so vulgar, so obscene, so perverted, whatever you want to call it, and he just stopped reading. He couldn't keep on reading because it was just so profane. Unfortunately, I do not agree. At best, the vulgarity is funny, and at times, I would have to say I was surprised. Some of the things that Céline writes about are just bizarre, eerie, and even, we have a few what the fuck moments in this book. And I haven't done the research, but if you have, please tell me if this retelling of Céline's childhood is 100% accurate, because of course he sort of embellished and fluffed it up in certain parts. But if this retelling of his childhood, the history, is, authentic, genuine, that's fucked up, right? Some of the things that happen to him in this book when he is a child, they're just, puzzling, perplexing. There is, let me tell you, what the real issue with this book is on the installment plan. Of course, the author, Céline, in this book seems to be, and this, I'm not trying to criticize him, this is just a observation. It seems to me that Céline in this book is a one-trick pony. And what do I mean by this? Of course, the characters are whatever. The story, whatever. Right? Here's the real issue. There isn't a single page in this book that isn't just somebody just losing their shit. Everybody's rambling, everybody's screaming, shouting, screeching, yelling, going insane, having these psychotic, rageaholic outbursts, and they're funny. At the beginning of this book, this type of style is hilarious. The way Céline writes all of these psychotic outbursts is hilarious, but after a while, it becomes stale, it becomes repetitive, and the man just doesn't stop. This is the issue. My edition of this book is like 500 plus pages. Every single page of this book is nothing but exclamation marks, somebody screaming, somebody shouting, somebody losing their shit over nothing. Over nothing. So, like, this is what happens, right? Somebody might be alone in his room, just breathing, blinking, and some crazy shit happens. Like, aliens appear, somebody starts shooting a gun, the fucking place falls apart, there's a fucking fire somewhere, I mean, it's craziness after craziness. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but not really. Like, there isn't a single page, a single paragraph in this book where, there's no calm, there's no serenity, there's no peace. It's just everybody in this book is depicted as these rabid fucking hyenas, these fucking banshees that keep on fucking screeching their lungs out about nothing. Like, the way Céline depicts everyone in here, it seems like every fucking character has some sort of fucking mental illness, some sort of personality disorder. They're all psychopaths. They all have issues, and they have to fucking tell everybody about it, right? No matter what happens in this fucking book, it doesn't matter to whom or what happens. It's just exclamation mark. It's just, this sort of recitation. I imagine every fucking character in this book just going like this, like crazy hand gestures, sweating profusely, the rants, the fucking outbursts. It's like a sort of recitation, right? They just do not stop. Like, most of the characters in this book, they live in squalor. They just live in bad neighborhoods. They barely make ends meet. And because of the despair and the poverty and the, let's call it bad luck, a terrible destiny, all of these characters, the only way that they can defend themselves against the fates, against, the despair, against the awful situation of their lives, and against the obscene affairs, the only way that they can defend themselves is by just screaming their hearts out, their lungs out. It's like somebody might chip a nail and motherfucker's gonna go ape shit. This is what happens in this book. Everybody, for the most lame reason imaginable, goes absolutely apeshit, berserk. It's like they all belong in an asylum for the, fucking demented, deranged, right? Everybody's deranged in this book. They're all insane. They're all mad. And after a while, it becomes a bit dull, stale, bland. Unfortunately, because of course he's a good writer. He talks about some fucking crazy fucked up shit in this book. But in the end, this book just fails to keep you interested because it is the same thing after the same thing, and it becomes a bit repetitive. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? The only reason why you should read this book is because of the incredible humor at the beginning. Like I said, Celine's father, the way he is depicted in this book, and I don't know if this is accurate, but the way he depicts his father in the beginning of this book, it is just, it is the cherry on top. Okay, you will laugh hysterically. Okay, if there is one thing that Celine excels at, it is this psychotic, you know, roller coaster of insanity, right? It's just everybody in this book is batshit crazy. It, that's just how it is. When you're on the street and you pass somebody and this person just goes crazy and starts shouting nonsense, like that is how every character in this book is depicted. Okay. But yet again, I have to repeat myself. I was a bit overhyped. I expected, the craziest nihilism, the craziest story, and the darkest characters imaginable, and it did not happen, right? The way I test and verify if I would enjoy a writer and if I would enjoy his books or her books is by, checking their quotes, excerpts from their books. And of course, if you check out Celine, he has fucking the craziest quotes imaginable. I mean, just by reading his quotes, you should want to buy all of his books and read them, because that's what happened in my case. But that's about it. Death on the Installment Plan by Ferdinand Céline. It wasn't what I expected, right? Hopefully, some of his other books will prove to be amazing, because this book wasn't amazing at all, right? So anyway, if you want to support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon as well. The link will be down below. And thanks for watching. See ya!